Once I decided to start Biocon, obviously I knew that, I had to sort of take on a huge number of challenges, and I was responsible to make this company succeed. So I was willing to do anything that it required. I think my father was an amazing man, and he really was everything to me because he's the one who actually gave me the courage, pushed me into, taking challenges, not being afraid. And he basically said to me, look, Kiran, don't listen to anyone who tells you that, women are inferior, or that, boys and girls have to separate their ambition levels, or that, as a girl, you can only do this or that. You have to have a purpose in life. And you have to have a very strong sense of business purpose if you're getting into entrepreneurship, right? I always say, don't do things just for the sake of doing it.
Yeah.
Why am I doing it? And is this something that is going to make me very excited? Is this something that is going to be enduring? Is this something that I think is going to be meaningful to me? Is this something that is going to impact my life? That's what gives you a sense of business purpose or a purpose in life.
You are a leader, you are someone whom everyone, and I've told this many times, that all of us in this country look up to you genuinely because you stand for so many things. But to me personally, for authenticity, a leader, a woman who is on the top and remains authentic. And I want to begin today with this question. I saw this amazing photo of yours with your father. You had posted it on LinkedIn. Tell me what influenced, because that photo had so much, it was speaking so much, and there was so much of simplicity and love and warmth, and you put that out. Tell me, what role did your father play in your life? And this is for everyone and every father who would be watching our conversation.
Yeah, I think my father was an amazing man, and he really was everything to me because he's the one who actually gave me the courage, pushed me into, taking challenges, not being afraid. And he basically said to me, look, Kiran, don't listen to anyone who tells you that, women are inferior, or that, boys and girls have to separate their ambition levels, or that, as a girl, you can only do this or that. So, he had actually given me that confidence and that courage to think big, to do whatever I wanted, and to basically fight the gender bias, so to speak. So I never had that concept that there was that gender stood between me and anything I wanted to do. Okay, and that my father did that for me.
What a progressive man, right?
He was a man way ahead of his times. And so after I finished college, I had asked him, like, what advice would you give me? I want to take up a career. And what do you think I should do after my BSc Zoology honors? I don't want to pursue academic research. I want to take up, a further education that provides me the passport to a career. So what would you tell me to do? And of all the things, he said, why don't you do brewing? And I said to him, why do you want a girl to do brewing? So he says, why are you making it such a gender-loaded career?
Wow.
He said, he says, I look at brewing as biotechnology. I look at brewing as something that you can pursue because you've done microbiology, zoology, and you understand what biosciences is all about and biotechnology is all about. And let me tell you what is most exciting about brewing, because he was a brewer, is fermentation science. And he said fermentation is agnostic to what you produce at the end. You can make beer, you can make pharmaceuticals, you can make anything you choose, but you must have that grounding understanding of fermentation. So he said, and since you're asking me what career should you pursue as a brewer, I'm telling you that there's a dearth of good brewers in this country. So why don't you do it? So with that in mind, I went to Australia and pursued brewing technology. And of course, as you can imagine, I was the only girl in my class. And obviously, it was a male-dominated, area. And nevertheless, I topped my class in Australia. My father was very proud. He said, I knew you would. And when I got back, I was in for a rude shock. And I couldn't get a job because of the fact that I was a woman. And my father was furious. He said, these people don't know what they are missing. I think you're brilliant. I think the way you discuss with me, you just know it so well. I wish I could discuss this way with my own brewers. They don't understand half of what you understand. He was so proud of me, and he was feeling so disappointed that I wasn't getting a job. So I could see that, my father believed in me all the way.
Wow.
And when I finally, in sort of defiance, took up this challenge of building Biocon, my father told me, he said, Kiran, I'm sure you'll build a very successful company and you will actually show these people how wrong they were to judge you the way they did.
Wow.
So, of course, when I built Biocon and I started building Biocon, he was very proud. And he said, I'm so proud of the way you're building Biocon, because you're building it as a very ethical company. You're building it as a very empathetic company. And, this is exactly how I think companies should be built.
Wow.
Because my father was very empathetic, by the way. He was even today, if you ask some of his old colleagues, they always fondly remember him as a very fair and ethical and empathetic leader. And he was.
Across, in that photo, you can see it on his face. Yeah.
He always cared for his people. And he always was very inclusive in everything he did. And he was never bossy, if you know what I mean. People loved him. People thought he was such a wonderful, fair man.
That brings me to the question. First, I have to say that to everyone watching, I hope we can take one leaf out of how to be a father, like how to be a father, because somewhere you have a daughter then who goes on to become a Kiran Mazumdar Shaw. Kiran, your father encouraged, you did very well. And then I can just say that your father also encouraged because he saw that talent. He seems to be a very fair man who saw your conversation, you went and talked and did everything. But then after all this, you did experience biases, you did experience challenges. And I remember our conversation, you had mentioned that, you used to sit in these buses in Punjab and different places, and you were I still can't imagine what it means, but that time you were the only woman sitting in buses and going to different parts of the country. Tell us about that, because I wanted you to tell, in those moments, how did you strengthen yourself? How did you say that, let me just do this every day?
Once I decided to start Biocon, obviously, I knew that, I had to sort of take on a huge number of challenges, and I was responsible to make this company succeed. So I was willing to do anything that it required. And, my early part of building Biocon was, of course, going and meeting customers to basically, sell and market my enzymes and enzyme technologies. And these customers were all over the country, and in very remote parts of the country, unfortunately. So I had to reach them, right? And I didn't have a large organization to send people off. So I had to do it all myself. And, I think my father had given me a lot of courage. Okay. And I think I was fearless. I just didn't think there was a problem. And I had to do it with with a sense of frugality, because I had very little monetary resources at my command. So that's why I couldn't afford to take a flight. I would take a train. I couldn't, I had to take buses, because I couldn't rent out a taxi, things like that.
Yeah.
So I think those early days actually taught me a lot. Actually, I learned a lot from those early days, doing my own thing, fending for myself, being brave. But I didn't think of myself as being in any danger. If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
When you're fearless, you don't think you are in danger. And so when I used to take those buses, even in the most remote parts of Punjab, I never thought that I was in danger of anything. And the people around me were so helpful. I remember the bus driver, you felt more responsible than I felt. So he would say, "Aap akeli hai?" And I would say, "Haan." So he says, "Nahi, nahi, aap yahan baithiye." Because he would see I was the only girl in the whole bus.
Wow.
And he would make me sit next to the bus driver's seat. There was a seat where the cleaner or somebody would sit, right? Not in front, but on the side, there used to be a seat. So he would say, "Aap yahan baithiye." So he would make sure that he could keep an eye on me.
Wow.
You understand? And then they were so considerate that they would say, "Aap kahan ja rahi hai?" I would say, "To this company." He would actually take a detour and drop me at the gates of that company. I've found how wonderful people are when you're trying to do something on your own, and when you know that it is not it is something that is not normal. So people try to help you.
Yeah.
So I never felt in danger. I met wonderful people during those early days, people who wanted to help me. Of course, there were also people who were feeling a bit awkward. I remember trying to buy some raw materials from traders, and they would always tell me, "Aapka manager bhej dijiye." I said, "Arey bhai, main hi manager hu." And what they meant was send a man.
Of course.
But I would say, "Nahi, main hi manager hu," and they had to just lump it, and they would, I would negotiate hard with them, and they would respect me. And so those were those early days. So I really have, built, bootstrapped and built this company in the early days. I know what hardship is. I know what frugality means. As a startup of even today, I know how important it is to value every rupee that you spend. I know the value of money. That's why I don't waste money in a sort of a show-offy way, if you know what I mean. I don't believe in status symbols, as you've often seen.
Of course. I remember you. I don't know if you remember, 3.5, 4 years back, we met in some ministry office, and I saw you. I was sitting in that reception area, and you sat, and I was like, "Oh my God, she's coming and sitting over there." So you have that humility and those touch points which one sees across. But Kiran, I want to ask you that many of us, and many women particularly, get into this victim mindset, because all said and done, world is not equal, and especially the professional world is not equal. But you have consistently, year on year, day by day, not, you've had that mindset, and you've not let that victim mindset ever come to you. How does that, wo kaise hota hai?
See, first and foremost, when you build your own company, even like you, Shraddha, you gain a sense of self-confidence, right? Because you have to help yourself. And if you can push yourself, obviously you gain that strength.
Yeah.
A lot of women feel helpless because they're pursuing a career in a man's world. They expect a certain type of behavior or help or attitude which they don't get. Yeah. And that kind of frazzles them a bit. In our case, it's survival. We just have to get on with it. We have to do it. We have the courage and the conviction. I want all women to have that courage and conviction. Then you don't become a victim.
Yeah.
Because the moment you feel that as a woman you need special methods or special privileges, then I think you'll be a victim. And, I've seen it in my own organization that all the women leaders are very strong women. They don't expect special treatment. Okay. And I think that's what then prevents you from being a victim.
Yeah.
So I often tell women, when we have a meeting and after the meeting, the women would have kept fairly quiet. They wouldn't have made statements or participated in the discussion very actively. And after the meeting is over, they'll say, actually, I wanted to say the following. And I would say, that's brilliant, but why didn't you say it in the meeting?
Yeah.
So that awkwardness, that shyness of not interacting or voicing your opinion at a meeting often acts against you.
Yeah.
Because what's the point of saying it after the meeting is over, and that too to me on a one-on-one, right? Because nobody will then realize it's her idea.
Yeah.
Even if I say, oh, by the way, after the meeting, so-and-so said this to me, they might think that, I'm being very kind to her.
Yeah. Yeah. Very fair.
Whereas if she had said it at the meeting, it would have made such a big difference. So I always tell women, look, please speak up. Please be interactive. Please be participative. Because by keeping quiet, you're not helping yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. Kiran, I want to ask you now this question, and this is, for everyone who wants to be an effective leader. Just tell us, how have you prioritized your time and your decisions over the years? Like, is there some mental model that has evolved over the years?
I think, yes, you asked a very important question, Shraddha. I think for every one of us, especially women who have to multitask much more than men, I think your life has to be kind of organized in terms of priorities. So every day, I kind of prioritize the activities during that day. What is most important? On a particular day, if my husband, who's a cancer patient, needs to go for some treatment, then that is my priority above everything else.
Yeah.
Okay. So that would come number one. Then come the rest of the priorities. And obviously at work, what are your priorities, right? Because the most urgent issues become your priority. And that you have to figure it out as a business leader. What are the most important priorities?
Yeah.
And so on and so forth. So when I talk about work-life balance, it's really about prioritizing your work and your personal life. And in my case, I know for a fact that when it comes to my personal life, health is always a priority, right? And that becomes very easy to manage once you have it all clear in your mind.
Yeah. I read something very interesting, is that when you have clarity, when you're not ambiguous about what you want from life, then you don't get distracted easily.
I often tell people you can't have it all. I often find young women, and I used to go through it myself because I was very young when I started Biocon. I was 25 years old. So I keep telling these young women, you can't want to run a very successful company, and you want to take a vacation, and you want to have a good time, and you want to do something else. It all cannot work. You have to then pick and choose. There are sacrifices you have to make in the early stages. Like, I know that I've had to give up so many vacations because I had to focus on work.
Yeah.
Right. In the early days. I mean, so many vacations I missed because I said, no, my work is more important. But today I find young people want to go on vacation and the work can come later. Now that then becomes a bit of an issue, because if you really want to focus on your work and you want to succeed, then you have to sacrifice something.
Yeah. Kiran, you'll be probably few of the people in the world who can answer this, is that how do you process your success, this amazing success, attention that you get? How do you process this? How do you How do you remain grounded?
Success should never, ever go to your head. Please understand that we are all, fortunate to be successful for a range of reasons. Your stars have aligned, you've been lucky. Of course, hard work is there, but I could have worked extremely hard, but if my stars were not aligned, I may not have been this successful, right?
Yeah.
So we are all products of a set of circumstances which you should be grateful for. And it is not just about I, me, myself, that I'm the greatest, I've done everything, and I didn't need anybody's help. That's not the way to look at success. Yeah. I am successful not just because of my efforts. I'm very successful because of the efforts of my teams, right? I am also a part of my team, so it's not just me. And then, as I said, lots of people have helped me. So it's not that I did it all myself. Okay. And if you look at it that way, then you get a sense of humility.
Yeah.
And then you also understand that, as someone who has benefited out of good fortune, you also have to give back to society.
Kiran, that brings me to the question, we as women, many of us, and I myself included, you want to fit into sometimes, right? You enter a room and you want to fit into the room because the room is different than who you are. And I'm asking you this question because you're very authentic in any room, any table, any place. You just remain who you are. How do you do that? How over the years have you done that?
Well, I think, if I'm glad you used the word authentic because I like that adjective. I think you have to be true to yourself, and you shouldn't try and pretend to be who you're not. Okay? And I think wherever you go, if you're true to yourself, you feel very comfortable because I don't have to pretend to be something else. The moment you pretend to be something else, it becomes difficult. You feel awkward. You don't feel comfortable, right? Yeah. But if you're true to yourself, no matter which environment you're in, you will fit in.
Yeah.
Because you don't have to pretend.
Kiran, over the years, what have you gotten better at doing? Are you better at saying no today?
Yeah. I think I'm someone who finds it very difficult to say no, especially when people plead and say, please, just this time. And, it's so important. And, your presence will make such a difference. And please, please, please don't say no. I used to always be a sucker to say yes. Okay. But I think now I realize, Shraddha, maybe I'm growing older and my energy levels are getting sapped. But I do know that today I really have to say no to many requests. And again, I have to now prioritize who I say yes to.
Yeah.
Because I have to do it in a way that, allows me to say yes to things that matter and no to things that are less important. So, today I get maybe hundreds of requests from multiple, say colleges, for instance.
Yeah.
I would love to talk to every one of them, Shraddha. I mean, I really want to talk to young people, but I can't. So then who are those colleges I say yes to?
Yeah.
Right? That's really tough. But then I try to, for instance, I gave a talk the other day to Maharani's college, the women's college. Of course, it was because, Jairaj kind of arm twisted me. But then he basically made a very good pitch saying why I should do it. And I thought that made a lot of sense. And I said, okay, I'll give this convocation address. I mean, I'm asked to give convocation addresses every month, I would say.
I can imagine that. Yeah.
But I've been saying no to a lot because unless I have some connect. See, Maharani's college is in Bangalore. I know it's a women's college. I know it has a rich history. I know that they're now trying to get women into an entrepreneurial way of thinking. So I thought, chalo, I should talk to these women. So normally I give a lot of time to women, to incubators. So startups are something I really give time to. And, technology think tanks. I like to sort of give some time to. And then if, globally, if I can make impact, obviously those kind of, sessions I might agree to.
My 100 reasons, one reason is also that you're such a strong, amazing brand and cool brand ambassador of India to the world. And now that brings me to the question, Kiran, to everyone who's listening and watching us, and especially the young people, young women who dream to be you, to be Kiran Mazumdar Shaw, what would you say should they focus on, and what would you say they should ignore?
I've always believed that you have to have a purpose in life.
Yeah.
And you have to have a very strong sense of business purpose if you're getting into entrepreneurship, right? I always say, don't do things just for the sake of doing it.
Yeah.
Why am I doing it? Is a big question you should ask yourself. And is this something that is going to make me very excited? Is this something that is going to be enduring? Is this something that I think is going to be meaningful to me? Is this something that is going to impact my life? That's what gives you a sense of business purpose or a purpose in life. So if you're sort of directionless or purposeless in life, it makes it that much harder to be clear in terms of what you want to do with your life. I know it's tough for young people to suddenly get into this state of having a purpose, but at least find a direction, and that's what I say to young people. Ask yourself these questions about what should I do next? Why should I do that? And is it going to be fulfilling to me? So is it going to be purposeful?
Yeah.
Those are the questions I would ask every young person to really, really seek answers to.
Yeah. And one personal question, take us into your life and tell us, what is it that you enjoy doing? Like, I know I feel you are living in the moment and you live all your moments, but what are some one or two things that you do besides work that makes you happy, unwind?
Vacation time with my family. That's the one thing that makes me unwind. And of course, right now I'm besotted by my grandnephew, who's just about 1.5 years old, and he's adorable. And of course, I've seen him only once, about 6 months ago. But I would love, and he's going to come to India very soon. So I'm really looking forward to that. But I really look forward to the first vacation I take with him and the family.
And last, before I let you go, somewhere we grew up in a generation, and I think that is changing now, where fitness, taking care of yourself, investing in your own self, being compassionate to your own self was somewhere, I don't think so we were taught that. You have talked about health and fitness. Tell me, what do you do to take care of yourself?
So I have a very, sort of simple fitness regimen. I go for a walk.
Okay.
I do a little bit of gymming, a bit of yoga, and I swim.
Wow, little bit of everything. Kiran Mazumdar Shaw, what an honor. Women on a mission, making us proud, and we have someone to look up to every day as we get distracted or feel low or feel that nahi hoga, kyunki sab kuch ho sakta hai, and you've shown it to us. Thank you so much.
Shraddha, I just want to wish women like you, I want every one of you to build this nation into a nation that's very, very, welcoming to women who want to join the economic mainstream. Wow. That is what will build a new India.